What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel here. Today we're talking about Sanctuary, the brand new album from one of my favorite bands, Evanescence. Now, I've spent the last couple hours this morning and a few hours last night listening to it a few times, and after letting it sink in, I can honestly say this is one of the most interesting albums the band has released in a very long time. One thing that immediately stood out to me is how great the bass sounds throughout this entire record, which should be no surprise with Emma joining the band and actually being on the recording process of this one. As a longtime fan of Sick Puppies, it was really cool hearing her influence on an Evanescence album. The bass here just isn't buried in the mix. It has a presence that's very clear and helps drive many of these songs and just adds another layer to the band's sound. The album opens with the song Beautiful Lie, and I think it's a perfect introduction to what Sanctuary is trying to accomplish. It starts with this electronic atmosphere before gradually building into the heaviness and emotion we've come to expect from Evanescence. It's a song that feels both familiar and fresh at the same time. Speaking of electronic, this album definitely leans into that sound more than previous Evanescence records. You can hear the influence of the new producers throughout this entire album, but it never feels forced. Instead, those electronic elements blend naturally with the band's signature mix of hard rock, metal, and orchestra, and of course, Amy Lee's powerful vocals. The result is a sound that feels modern without sacrificing the identity of the band. And Amy Lee, what can I say? She still has it. There are several moments throughout the album where she just reminds everyone why she's one of the most recognizable voices in rock music. Songs like How Do I Heal and Forever Without You remind me of songs like Immortal, which showcase not only her vocal power but also her ability to convey emotion in a way that few singers can. Whether she's delivering a massive chorus or a quieter, vulnerable moment, like in those songs, she sounds fantastic through the entire album. What surprised me the most here was just how heavy this record seems to get. Honestly, this might be the closest Evanescence has come to making a full-on metal style album. There are moments here that hit harder than almost anything in their catalog, yet they still maintain the melodic and emotional core that has defined the band for years. For me, this is probably their best album since The Open Door. That's not a knock against their later work. I did enjoy Self-Titled and I did enjoy The Bitter Truth, but to me, Sanctuary just feels special. It feels adventurous. The band is clearly willing to experiment and push their sound into new territory, and they're doing it without losing sight of who they are. It's still the band we know and love. What I love most about the album is that it has this balance to it. It's ambitious, it's experimental, yet it's also deeply personal. It feels modern in both its production and the topics it explores here, but it never comes across as chasing trends. Instead, it feels like a veteran band finding new ways to evolve more than 20 years into their career. Overall, Sanctuary is a bold step forward for Evanescence. It's heavy, it's emotional, it's atmospheric, and like I said, it's surprisingly adventurous. Between Amy Lee's incredible vocal performance, Emma's standout bass work, and the successful incorporation of electronic elements, this album gives fans a lot to appreciate. My score for Sanctuary is a 9 out of 10. It's one of my favorite Evanescence albums already and easily one of my favorite rock and metal releases of the year so far. Let me know what you thought of Sanctuary and what your favorite track is down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.